We trust our phone lines completely, right? We just pick up the phone and talk. It's a secure system we built decades ago, and honestly, we take it for granted. But what about our data? When it comes to our digital public square, it feels like we're back in the Wild West. Today, we're going to dig into how we can fix that.
So, let me ask you a question. Would you ever, even for a second, use a phone service if they told you up front, hey, we're going to listen to your calls and read your tests for our own benefit? Of course not. The idea is just, it's insane. We have this fundamental expectation that our conversations are private and secure.
And yet, that's pretty much the risk we're running right now in the new data economy. There's this critical gap in European law that has basically punched a giant hole in the whole system, leaving our public data, data from governments and institutions, totally vulnerable. It's flowing through channels that have none of the protections we demand for a simple phone call.
To really understand the solution, we've got to look back. Remember the 1990s? That was a huge time for telecommunications in Europe. We went from these clunky state monopolies to a competitive, open market full of secure, licensed operators. And that move created the trust and the infrastructure that powered the whole digital communication revolution. Well, data is at that exact same crossroads today.
This timeline really lays it out. Back in the 90s, we cracked the code for secure communications with an open and fair market. Fast forward to today, and our data is just stuck in this unregulated Wild West. But here's the thing. The future isn't written yet. The EU has a plan, the EU data strategy, to bring that same level of trust, security, and fair play from the world of telecoms into the world of data.
And right at the heart of this big vision is a brand new type of entity. I want you to think of it like a new, super trustworthy telecom operator, but built from the ground up for the data economy. They're called Data Intermediation Service Providers, or DSIPs for short.
So what on earth is a DISP exactly? Well, it's a new, officially recognized and regulated entity that was created by the EU's Data Governance Act. Its one and only purpose is to be a neutral and secure go-between. Seriously, think of it like a digital postman who is legally forbidden from ever peeking inside the envelopes.
So a DISP has 4 absolutely crucial jobs. First, total neutrality. They can't touch or use the data for themselves, period. Second, they have to meet incredibly strict audited security standards. Third, they're meant to be the foundational layer of trust for Europe's entire data future. And fourth, they make a fair, open market possible, where everyone can compete on a level playing field, which, is essential for protecting our rights as citizens.
It's a brilliant vision. It really is. But, and there's always a but, here's the conflict. This is the central problem we're talking about today. There is a critical, and honestly, kind of unbelievable loophole in the EU's own laws that threatens to bring this whole beautiful structure crashing down before it even gets started.
This breaks down the problem perfectly. Okay, step 1. The EU designs these fantastic, highly secure data operators called DISPs. Great. Step 2. Through laws like the Data Act, it tells public bodies you must share more of your data. Also great. And then step 3. It completely forgets to say that they should actually use the secure, trustworthy DISPs it just invented. It's like building a brand new state-of-the-art highway, but then not telling anyone they should probably drive on it.
And as we all know, nature abhors a vacuum. It doesn't stay empty for long. This legal void, this failure to connect the dots, it creates a huge opportunity for a different kind of player to step right in. Let's just call them the gray actors.
Right, because public authorities aren't required to use the secure, regulated DSPs, this gap is being filled by totally unregulated intermediaries. These are the gray actors we're talking about. They could be consulting firms, big tech platforms, or proprietary hubs that operate in the shadows, completely outside the rules that were designed to protect European data and our rights.
And just look at the difference here. It is stark. A regulated DSP is legally required to be neutral. A gray actor isn't. A DSP's security is audited and certified. A gray actor's is a total black box. Who knows? DSPs have to be transparent. Gray actors are completely opaque. And their goals? They're fundamentally different. One exists to create a fair market for everyone. The other is just trying to pursue its own commercial or strategic gain.
And this is where the threat goes from being a market problem to something incredibly serious. The source material puts it bluntly. Without a requirement to use trusted providers, a hostile state or a foreign intelligence service can disguise itself as a neutral data intermediary. This isn't just about economics. This is a massive national security risk.
So the risks here are severe, and they're very real.
Our public data can be read, copied, or just plain stolen while it's in transit. Hostile actors could build shadow data networks right under our noses inside the EU. Our critical infrastructure could end up relying on services that are controlled by unknown, or even worse, adversarial powers. This is a direct threat to Europe's data sovereignty.
Okay, so the situation seems pretty dire, but here's the good news. The solution is actually incredibly simple. We don't need to rewrite entire laws. The fix is elegant, it's powerful, and it all comes down to a single sentence.
And here it is. This is the proposed addition to EU law. All it says is that public authorities shall primarily use recognized data intermediation service providers. That's it. That one little change connects all the dots. It closes that dangerous loophole, and it activates the entire security architecture that the EU has already spent years designing.
Now, let's be really clear about this. This isn't about creating a monopoly or picking one specific company to win. Not at all. It's about setting a high bar for security and for neutrality. Any company that can meet the strict DISP criteria can jump in and compete. This forces everyone to compete on quality and trustworthiness, which of course benefits all of us.
So what happens if we actually make this change? What's the big payoff? Well, we finally unlock the original vision of the EU data strategy, a secure, a thriving, and a trusted data future for all of Europe.
You see, making this one change creates this amazing virtuous cycle. First, a real thriving market for trusted DSIPs will finally be able to take off. Second, public officials get legal certainty. They'll know they're choosing the secure, compliant option. Third, and this is so critical, we strengthen EU data sovereignty by making sure our data flows through a transparent, trusted network. And fourth, our rights as citizens are finally protected in the data world.
And that brings us right back to where we started. This simple legal fix does something truly profound. It extends our fundamental right to private, secure communications, a right we've had for our phone calls for decades, and brings it into the new data economy.
So it really all comes down to this one question. We built a trusted system for our conversations. We would never accept anything less. So why on earth should we accept anything less for the data that is going to define our future? Isn't it finally time we secure it?